Hi everyone, it's Gina. If you are new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I hope you'll stick around and take a look at what I have for our project today. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. In my last video, I had started my very first hardcover journal. And I explained how I put the cover together. And I started gathering papers and I created 3 signatures. And when we left off, I wanted to add a little bit of support to some of the creases on some of the pages, especially these ones I took out of a book. So I did do that, and as you can see, I just have some washi tape here. And that's pretty much what I used on all of the pages that needed a little bit of support. And today what we're going to do is we're going to bind our signatures into our cover. Now what I'll be using to do that is a pencil, a ruler, and my crocodile too. Now the first thing I'm going to do is figure out where I want the holes on my cover. So I'm going to bring you in just a little bit. So here is my spine. Now if I measure just from the edge of the paper to the edge of the paper here, it's 2 1/8. On this ruler there's 2 little notches, so 2/16, which is 1/8. So to find the center, I'm going to shift it over just one little notch so that there is 1/8 on each side. So I've got 2 full inches and then 1/8 on each side. So that way I can go right to my number 1 and put a little mark, and that should be the center. I didn't measure whenever to find the exact center. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. But as far as where I want to put my holes horizontally for my signatures, I did want to use my ruler for that. So I'm going to put a little dot there. Okay, I think I'll line up the edge of my ruler. It's 1 1/8. So I'm going to go probably between the 1/2 inch and the little notch next to it. So just about right there. See if you can see that. I think I'll do the same on the other side. So again, I'm going to go around to the 1/2 inch mark and put a little dot, and there we go. So that's what I've got. And that looks, visually that looks about right to me. You see, I had originally put a few little dots there that I didn't measure those, but I think I'll stick with these measurements. So I think I'll do the same thing. I'm going to repeat the whole process down here and up here. It's not a perfect science, but I think that's close enough. The main thing is you just, don't want to be at too far of an angle. You want it relatively straight, but I'm not going to drive myself crazy making sure it is just absolutely mathematically perfect. You may go ahead and do that, but as long as it's pretty much correct, that'll suffice. Now this is where the crocodile too comes in really handy. You have all this space to work with, and it really is great at reaching into like the middle of your book or your journal or whatever you're trying to, punch a hole in. If you don't have one of these, you can still do this project. I've shown this before. I got this kit online, and okay, I have thrown a couple of extra pieces in just to keep everything similar in the same place. But the kit came with a lot. It came with 3 types of thread, and it's the like wax thread, which is perfect. And you get this great awl, and it's awl as an AWL. That's the name of this little tool. And it's got a super fine point, and it's really strong. And you can line it up and you push it through. So you can certainly do it that way. And if you don't have one of those, maybe something pointy and metal and hard that you can really get some leverage behind that you can push through. You don't have to have super fancy products, but I can't lie, this is super handy. It just makes life easier, and there's nothing wrong with that. I totally subscribe to that way of thinking. Okay, so I have my little places marked, and now I have it set on 1/8. It could be 1/8 or 3/16, and I think I'm going to go 1/8. And you can take a look, you can see that's where it comes out. So that's the only kind of tricky thing about this tool is, you know, I can't do it this way and see exactly where it's punching. I have to really kind of look from the side and make sure I can, and try to line it up that way. But other than that, it's awesome. So I'm going to line it up. Of course, the way my light is making a shadow, and that's not helpful. Let's try this way. There you go. It went through this like it was nothing, and you get a nice clean hole. It's a little pricey, but it's definitely worth the money. So that's what I'm going to do to the rest of these. There we go. The holes are done. And if you take a look, you can see that there's a larger space between the middle and the bottom than there is between the middle and the top. And that's always a good idea to do, because believe me, when you're starting to sew and you're trying to get things together, it's easy to get it, you know, confused. And the next thing you know, things are all wacky. You know, this is the front. And that helps me remember that this is the top and this is the bottom of my book. And even with that, I still may get confused later, but that's just a good idea to do, just to help you kind of keep things straight as you're putting your journal together. All right, now that we have our holes all punched into our journal cover, now comes the scary part. At least this is the part that makes me really nervous. Now I need to punch the holes in my signatures so that they line up exactly with the holes of my journal cover. That's the tricky part. I'm sure once you do this several times, it becomes less scary, but this is kind of the part I was dreading, so just a little confession there. But we're going to get through it. So let's see. Now, I can't just tap everything down like this to make my pages even, because I have little pieces that that don't go all the way from the top to the bottom. And this one I would rather have to stay up at the top. So if I tap it down, it's going to shift. So I can't do that. So I'm going to squish from the sides, okay, and just like this. And the key here is you really want to get all of the pages as snugly together as you can. And to do that, I think I'm going to use my ruler. So you find the center and you push it down. Now I've got stuff starting to shift already, so let me straighten it back up, tap it back in. Okay, then I'll hold on to it snugly and then use the ruler and push it down. Okay, make sure everything stays inside, or not. If that doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it. But I was trying to keep all my pages pretty much in line. Okay, so that looks pretty good. See how snug all that is? Pretty good. Okay, now this is probably not the easiest way to do it, but this is just my idea. So I'm going to give it a try. So from here, I'm going to pinch on to my ruler and my papers. I'm going to grab a big safety pin or paper clip. Find the center. Where are you, center? Okay. And while I've got everything pinched and everything's tight, I'm going to paper clip this side. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. I still have it pinched. I haven't let up my grip. Okay, and oops, I'm going to paper clip this side. I'm going to take my ruler out and I'm going to open it up, and I think we are good. Now, okay, I'm going to close it back up. Take a look. Looks pretty good. Now I got this next tip from Pam at the Paper Outpost, so I'm going to see if it works. Pam, don't let me down. The way she lined them up was she just kind of laid it down right next to the holes, made sure that it was within the boundaries of the journal. Let me do it this way so I can actually see the holes. And then she just took a little marker. Oh, I couldn't get the lid off. Okay, take a little marker, line it back up, and just put a little dot. I think she just rubbed it with a pencil, but since it's coffee dyed with all this pattern, I was afraid I would not see the pencil mark. So I'm just going to put a little dot. Okay. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, and there you can see my little dots. And I'm actually going to turn it over. I was going to use the awl, but it gives a much cleaner cut if I use the crocodile. But I may just give a little poke while I have it here. Okay, there's one, there's two, and there's three. See, it's just a little bit in there, but it made a hole. So you can go ahead and push that through further, and the further down you go, the bigger your hole will be, if you want to just use your awl. Uh-oh, this little guy moved. Be still, be still. See if I can find the hole again. Okay, I think I got it through all of the pages, so I think I'm lined up again. So I'm just going to use my awl. So you push it through. Okay. Hopefully this one's lined up too, since that one now lined up. And I'm going to push that one through. Alright. That one's not quite in the center, but oh well. I guess that one's not either. Let's see. There we go. I may go through them again from this direction as well. Okay. First one is done. The true test will be when I go to sew it in to make sure that it lines up correctly. But I am hoping it does. Alright, let's do another one. This is going to be the middle signature. Make sure things are where you want to put them. See, now this piece is kind of hanging out in the middle. This one's up top. Alright. So I tap from the sides and down. Let's find the center, push it down with my ruler, and I'm going to pinch with my finger. We take a paper clip, go down, take a paper clip, down right there. Alright, looking pretty good. Okay. I'm going to line it up with the middle, just simply because this is going to be the middle signature, and if my holes aren't perfectly matched, hopefully this signature will sew in perfectly to the right set of holes. I try to do some checks and balances here, and I just thought that might be helpful, just in case I was off. Yeah, I'm not sure if I punched these holes very well. These two seem to be pretty good, but where is that one? Oh, it's under there. Okay, so note to self, crazy, very dark washi tape might not be the best thing for the outside because I can't see my markings. I can see this one really well, so I'm going to start with that. Hey, look at that. Right on the money. Yay me. Got a little misstep there, but hey, I nailed it right there. And the last one, yay, I got that one right too. Okay. Signature 2 is done. that was the third one. All right, so now we have the holes in the spine of our hardcover and the holes in our signatures. It's time to sew them in. Let's put them together. It's time to bring in this little kit that I'd mentioned. This is a brown, which you would think would be the logical choice. Let's work with the black one today. And I'm going to need a needle. And all of these come with the kit. I just picked the one that has the biggest eye I can get. Look at that. I can't see, so if you can't see, these are really great. I think that one will be fine. How do you know how much twine or yarn or whatever you're using to bind yours? How do you know how much to use? Well, if I can ever find the end of this thing, I'll tell you. All right, here we go. So the rule of thumb is you pull out 3 times the height of whatever it is you're sewing. So for this journal, we'll go 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So this thread, like I said, does have a coating of wax on it, which makes it very convenient to work with. Let's get that threaded. Very good. Now, the second rule is to start with the back. So here's the front, which is good to check. Make sure you've got your cover the right way before you get started. Okay, so there's my front. I'm going to start with the back, not this one. I think this is the one. Now see, I've got the 2 close together and then the long bottom. So that helps me line it up. And I think I'll end with my string on the inside. So to do that, I'm going to start on the inside. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'll put it in here, in that middle hole. Then I'm going to come back in from the bottom, like this. Okay. Now I'm going to come up here through the top hole, all the way to the top. All right. Now I want to come back through this middle hole. Let's find it. Here we go. And there. Now I actually came up in just the right spot. Let me bring you closer. You want the string that goes from the bottom all the way to the top in the middle. And you want one of the ends to be on each side. Let's make sure it's taut. Be a little bit tighter. Okay. Okay. You want it tight, but not too tight to where it's going to rip your paper. And then we're going to make a couple of knots. I'm going to go right over left first. Okay. And then the very awkward left over right. There we go. And that's our first signature sewn in. I'll take a bone folder. It comes with a couple, maybe I'll use one. And I'm just going to try to train the paper and get it used to laying flat like this. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave my paper clips in because it'll just help keep it out of the way while I'm going through and trying to sew the other 2 in. As you can see, you have to do a lot of flipping or turning around, so we don't need those pages flying everywhere. Here's our string. We'll go 1, 2, 3. So we've got our needle threaded, and now let's take our middle signature and add it right here. Push it through the middle hole. Okay, now I want to come up through the bottom hole. Where are you? Now if you lose it, if your paper shifts, get your little pokey tool out again and just try to get it, all your pages to line up again. There we go. All right. So I should be able to get it through this time. Now we go all the way up to the top. So far so good. Now I just need to come back through the middle hole. Let's see. come on. Okay. If you push it through and it comes up on the other side, just tuck it under. So that's not a big deal, but so far I've gotten kind of lucky hitting it in the right spot. Ooh, look, I don't have a whole lot on this side. I'll go right over left, go left over right. Now, 2 signatures in. I think I'll cut this one a little bit. It's a little extra long. Push that over and train that paper. 1 more signature, and we're almost done. Train our paper just a little bit. All right, let's take out our paper clips. Oops, let me back you up a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so here is what we've got. It looks like the bottom's all the way inside the cover. The top, well, it looks like it might have just a little bit peeping over right here, but for my first one, I am thrilled. So I call it success. Yay! And here is what the spine looks like. There are 3 signatures. And here is our little journal. Not so little, huh? Got lots of pages in here. Now there are spaces in the middle, and we can think about things to do about that later if we want to. I already have a pretty paper there, or one at least that I like, so I'm not that worried about it. And I have a feeling as we fill it with ephemera, it's going to bulk up and those spaces will not be that noticeable. So yay! I'm really excited. I've been really nervous about this. I feel good that I've actually put one together. And, you know, it was a little bit of a struggle here and there. A little stressful lining up the holes. I wasn't sure if that was going to work, but it did. And again, if it didn't, if some of the pages were sticking out, you could leave them like that. But if it bothers you, you could just trim them off because they're all different sizes anyway. Who's to say that you didn't mean to put it like that? So there are fixes for just in case it doesn't turn out just like you like. Don't give up. Be creative. See what you can do to make it work, and it'll all be good. I hope this was inspiration for you if you have always wanted to try to create a hardcover journal and put multiple signatures in it. I do hope this was inspirational and will encourage you to try, because we have to remember it is just paper. It started out as packaging. It's not a great loss if it didn't work out. If it was messed up to the point I didn't think I could fix it, I would grab a new box and I would start again. I hope you crafted with me. That would be fantastic. I think that's going to be it for this video. Next time we will start decorating, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to reading your comments and letting me know what you think about the journal. If I did something that you think I could have done a different way to make it easier, please let me know. I would love to read your comments and learn about different ways of doing things. All right, well, that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.